everyone, in this short video tutorial I'll show you how to use Google Form to create forms as well as quizzes. Okay, so first thing you do is log into your Google account. I'm logged in currently, that's why you can see the icon there of my account. So then you go to the Google Drive, right? So you go there, click on the grid up there and click on Drive, and once you get to the Drive, then you click New to create a new Google form or any Google document. That's the usual step you follow. And then you go down to More, because Google Form is usually not visible here. So then you go to Google Form and click on it, and you're ready to go. So first you name your form, whatever title you want to give it. I'll just call it Test Form. And if you have any description or instruction, general stuff, you can write it here. I'll just, for example, write this is a test form. That done, now you can straightforward start creating questions for you. Generally, for most forms, I ask the person for name. So name will be a short answer. Google is quite smart, it recognizes you there. So you have option of adding pictures if you want to. Okay, you can either drag an image from your folder, or you can upload using clicking this button and pointing to the place where you have your image. So once that is done, now in this case we don't require an image, so we just leave it. You can use your webcam to take a snapshot, or you can get your video an image from a certain URL in which it is accessible. If you have it in Google Drive, you can go for that. You can search for images too using Google, but let's try that sometime later. Okay, so the next here is the choice of questions you want to ask. So you get to that by clicking on the downward button here. So you have choice, short answer, paragraph, multiple choices, check boxes, drop down, right? Then you can have linear scale, multiple choice grid, checkbox grid. If you want it to be time or something, date, time, you can also put that. And of course, you can make this form a form where people can use to upload files. So just let's first look at the short answer, paragraph, and the simple ones. Okay, so you ask for name. Now usually sometimes if my fields are going to be similar, I just do copy. So I say duplicate. Now in your case, maybe you want to ask, let's say class, or it can be school, whatever. So that will still be a short answer. Okay. Now if you want to add any, if you don't want to duplicate but want to add stuff, you still have the choice here. That's the plus, means add question. Or you can, if you want to partition and have additional text, like for example here, then you can add more questions that way by clicking here, text questions. Or you want to describe, for example here, let's say section 1 or section 2. So this is the text element. And if you want to embed an image in between, or put a video, or you want to put a section bar like that, section 1, 2, 3, you can do like that. Okay, so I will not put the section bar, I will delete it. So whenever you click here, you got the 3 buttons. You get option of duplicate section, move section, delete section, so you delete that. I deleted everything because it was in a section, so never mind. Let's go back. So first we add first one, name. Okay, it's a short answer. I go back the same step, duplicate. I say class. Maybe it may be useful for you to write school, because you have people doing your workshop from different schools. So once that is done, now I'll try to enter different type of question. But before that, let me draw your attention to this button here, says required. So since you require name, you can choose this. That means people have to enter that field. Okay, you know you have put a requirement there when you see the star there. I make this required too. Right, now I start including proper questions. So let's enter a simple multiple choice question. Right, are you I leave dash 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 and put a question mark there. Then option 1, let's say simple, student, teacher. Okay, I just put 2 options, so that is a multiple choice, so they can click either one and make a choice click. Now let's try another type of question. I add plus. Okay, third question. Now instead of multiple choice, maybe you want to check boxes. Let's say how old, sorry, I got the caps lock on by mistake. How old are you? Okay, so option 1, 20 plus, option 2, 30 plus, option 3, 40 plus. So these are 40 went the other way around. These are check boxes, checkbox question. Now let's try another type of question where we want to do drop down. Let's say gender, then drop down will be, now Google is smart, so it just automatically gives you a suggestion. If you just say add all, it'll fix that for you. Male, female, prefer not to say gender, right? Now let's try another type of question here, multiple choice. We already had drop down. Let's say linear scale. For example, do you agree that this workshop was beneficial to your beneficial for your professional development? Wait, where's my mouse? Okay, so that's done. Now, of course, you can describe the ratings here. 1, strongly agree. 5, strongly disagree. Now here I must warn you, actually it's better to put strongly disagree as 1, because I've seen forms where they put strongly agree as 1 and people have gone to click strongly disagree, because usually disagree is the rating 1 in most of the forms. So again, if you want to make it required, you can put it there. So these are the types of questions you can add. Is there any left out, any optional? You can, for example, if you want to put a date, then you can put it there, date, question. For example, which, just put date of birth or something like that. Now one thing you can do is that since date of birth needs to come before all this, maybe if you want to move anything, you just click on this in the middle here. You see the 6 dots here. Yeah, you can click on that and move the items up. Name, school, date of birth needs to go in. I think it'll be good to push the gender before the date of birth. Right. Of course, I know how old are you becomes redundant here because you know the date of birth. I'm just using this to show you what kind of questions can be created. Or you can, how many years have you taught? Let me change. Teaching experience or something like that. Now, of course, 20 years is a lot, but just let's leave it like that. This is just to show you an example. So these are the types of questions you can embed. Now let's say you have a picture question. So I do like this. Insert an image. I take, okay, I'll search an image. What type of image should I say? Let's just start search for a classroom image. Okay, so let's say I take this class image. I say select. Where are you? My dear image. So here's the image. Image title. Look at the image, right, and answer the question below, right, and then below that I can put a question or series of questions. What is the teacher doing? So maybe it's a short answer question. So there, that's how I put an image into the question, right. Now I can of course move it down and up, but I won't bother to do it at this juncture. You can also add a video and make a question, like for example, let me get, okay, let's use this video, School of Rock. watch this video and answer the question below. Right, now I put a question below. How does the teacher inspire his students? Something like that. And this one I make it maybe a paragraph so they can write longer text. So here you see I prepared a very quick form, okay, in which I have different types of questions: image, video, multiple choice, short answer, long answer, Likert case. So you can create a quiz like that very easily, and as I told you, you can move them up and down. You can make sure that by choosing the required button, make sure your students answer that question. Right, now here let's see, look at the question, teaching. If let's say one question you don't want, you want to delete, all you need to do is, right, let's say here you don't want, you just click the trash can button and it is deleted. So let's say I just delete that question, it's gone. Right, and this is the duplicate button. So generally all are there. Now if you want to add show description, means you want to describe this question, if you have to put greater detail. If you don't want, you can hide description, because some question need clarification, so you can use that button. Or sometimes you can put response validation. That means how long you want the response to be, how many characters you want them. So if you want to add such things, you can try this by clicking on the response validation. So that is how you generally create a form. Right, so after you create a form, usually what you do is you click the send button, okay. So you have different ways of sending a form. If you have an mail list, you can just paste them there and send them to the emails, their respective email addresses. You can write a brief note here about, and then you can include the form. You have a choice of either sending it as a link, or you can include the form in the email. And if you want people to collaborate on the form, you can add collaborators and they will be invited to work on the form before you send it out. Okay, how you do that is by inviting them to collaborate on the form. Okay, now I don't want to add anybody, so I just cancel. I just say done, go back. Now another way of sharing the form is, if you don't want to email but you want to post a link on the website, you just click this button and here's the link. You copy the link and you can paste it on the website or any document, any email or anything you are sending mass mail, and they can click on this link and they can do the form. Now if you want to display this link on a PowerPoint, probably this is not such a good idea because you see such a long link here. So then you can choose to press this shorten URL and the URL will be shortened. Still it's pretty long but not as bad. Then you can copy and paste it and people can access the link. Now of course you can create a QR code for this, very easy. First thing you do is copy the link, then you go back, open a new window and Google search for a QR code generator. QR code generator. You can use any one of them, there are many free ones. Okay, let's say use this one. I click it there and I paste the URL here and say click a QR code, and once you press that, here is your QR code. So you can download this as a picture image and add it onto your download button is here. Add it to your PowerPoint, right? So that is how you can share your QR codes on presentations and stuff, where people can just scan the QR code and go to your form. Now these are different ways of sharing your form. Now the third way of doing that is, of course, clicking their button. When you see this sign, it means get a code, embed code, HTML code. So here you have a HTML code and you can copy this HTML code and then paste it as a code inside your website, and then the form will appear within that website. Of course, you must look at the size of the form. Like for example, let's scroll down. This form has quite a lot of questions, so maybe you would want to change your HTML code a bit. How you do that is press on the send button, go back to the code generator, and here you can see the height. I think our current questionnaire height should be at least 1200 to 1600 pixels. So you first change that. The width always remains the same standard. After you have changed that, then you copy. Okay, so I think there will be just a nice size. Then you paste it into your website. Now if you're using Oppo, then look at how I embedded documents into Oppo, and you use the same. Instead of the document code, you embed a document or video. How to embed video, you use the same idea. You embed the code instead of the video code, okay? So that is how to send. Now you have also one option here. It says collect email addresses. If you say collect email addresses, it will force the people who are, I think, using this form to enter their email addresses. So you know who are the people who use this form. Now, you also have an option of sharing via Google+, Facebook, or Twitter. Okay, now this is when you are collecting form information from people who are on these platforms with you. Okay, now I shan't go any further into this because it will become too long. So let's say you know how to embed form, and you have already embedded form and people have responded. Now there's two ways to look at the response. First is, of course, you click here, response, and all your responses will appear here. Right, so question 1, all the question 1 responses will appear together. Question 2, all the question 2 responses will appear together. But this way of looking at responses does not allow you to see what one person posted for all the questions. You will see all the responses together. So a better way to do is turn it into a spreadsheet. Right, but before we do that, here you see a button here. So when it's slid on this side, it means you are still accepting responses. But once you want to stop accepting responses, you just slide it back here, and it will say not accepting responses. So people will know that this form, the date is over, you're no longer accepting responses. So that is one important thing to keep in mind. The other thing is, let's click here. Right, you can choose here, get email notifications. So whenever you get new responses, you get email notifications. You can select response destination. That means where you want the new responses to go. Do you want them to go to a new spreadsheet or an existing spreadsheet? Well, this one will show later. I'll show you how it works. Okay, apart from that, you can download all response as comma separated value. So this is again format if you want to import or export data. And if you want to clear all responses, you just say delete all responses. Okay, now here we had this option saying select response destination. That is same as this button here, create spreadsheet. So when you click this, it will give you an option whether you want to create a new spreadsheet or you want to select an existing spreadsheet. That means, like for example, if you are on timely manner collecting data into a certain form, then you can use this. But if you are, this is the first time you are collecting response, then you choose this and name the form. Now let me just call this form test form. So test form responses. So I say create, and you will see a new Google Sheet is created with all the information that you are trying to collect. Now I suggest that you do this once you have collected all the responses, and then turned off the collect responses, accepting responses button. Then you do this thing. First thing you do is just click anywhere and press Control A. That makes you you select all the cells in this form. Then you go to format. Then you go to text wrapping and choose wrap. Wrap means, as you can see immediately, the text, whether it's long or short, are all within the size of the form. So they don't spread out and run into other cells. So that is first thing you do. And then the next thing you do is you go and click this button and just say align to top. You can do the same thing by going to format, align, align to top. So that way then all your text will appear within the size of the cell. Then of course you can choose to make certain those which usually people write more longer, and like for example school and all this, gender can be pretty short, no need to be very long, date of birth need not be very long, so you can just play with the sizes there. But remember to do it at the end, otherwise each time somebody enters a new data, it will again that part will go awry. So do it at the end after you've finished collecting all your data. So now that is how you can collect all your use Google Form to collect data. Now the next thing is that let's say you don't want to collect data but this way like the usual form, but you want to make it a quiz, like teaching and learning quiz. So I won't bother to change the questions, because questions you can change and make it choose quiz type of questions, but I will teach you how to make it into a quiz. So to make it into a quiz, you go there and click on this gear button at the top right corner. You see that? You click this, and then you can see the choice here, whether you want to make it a presentation or you want to do a quiz. Okay. Now here again, it gives you some choices. Collect email, that as I told you will force them to enter the email address. Limit to one, requires sign in. If you give them this option, it says limit to one response. That means the sign in account will be locked once they enter one response, so they can't use the same sign in account to submit more than one response. Now here are two more choices. One is edit after submit. That means once a respondent has entered a response, at the end he still gets the option to change his responses. Some people allow people to do that, and you can do that too, and others, they don't want respondent to change any answer, so they don't check this box. Then of course you have an option of allowing the respondents to see summary charts and text responses. If you don't want, you need not check this. Now here's a presentation mode. Presentation mode is how you want people to see the quiz. Like for example, if you say show the progress bar, then as they answer the questions, the progress bar at the end will show. And then shuffle question order is just in case you are doing a quiz. So when people are doing quiz, sometimes you don't want people sitting on side to say a question is this, answer is this, so you can shuffle the questions, so each person looking at this quiz will see the questions in different order. Okay, show link to submit another response. When you keep it ticked on, then at the end of the quiz it will ask, do you want to submit another response? Now this is like, for example, if you're using an iPad and many people are going to use it, then maybe it's good to check this. But if everybody is just going to try once, then you need to uncheck this. If you uncheck this, after they are done, they will see your confirmation message. Here it's a default one, but you can say thank you for your response or anything else that you want to say, and this response will be flashed to them. Okay, so far so good. Now the quiz mode. If you want to turn your form into a quiz, all you need to say is make this a quiz. Okay, now you have an option of releasing grade immediately after each submission or later after manual review. If it's a self-assessment thing, maybe you want to release the grade immediately after the quiz has been completed. But if it is not, then you should either choose later after manual review or just not choose anything. Right. Now one thing important is that for short answers, if you have short answers which require to be graded manually, because short answers cannot be graded automatically, then you should choose this, because there's no way you can immediately release grade because it has not been graded yet. Now here, other options, respondent can see missed questions, can see correct answers, point values. These are options you want. If you want, you allow. If you don't want, you can check. Now I'll work on missed question. Is quite straightforward. Now correct answers and point values, I will show you how it works. So let's say I've turned it into a quiz. I say save, and now I go back to my quiz. Now here, right, each question, now you can see I can do both answer key and point. So let's say school, answer key. Let's say there's a correct answer. Okay, the correct answer is, let's say NIE. Okay, there's yet another correct answer, NTU. Let's say, then if you want, you can also answer a feedback. For example, you got it right, or something something if you want to say something. Okay, and then now you can give point here, point 1, done. So then you can go to question 2. Now you can see if the student enters NIE or NTU as the school, he will get 1 point. And when he does mark all others incorrect, means if they put any other answer, it will all be taken as incorrect. And if they got it right, then you will get a feedback. Or you can put any, thank you for answering this question, or you can clarify the question, or put some feedback which, what you call, helps student understand and have some conceptual clarity if that question requires. So these things are what you can put. So then you can send the quiz. Now I'll just show you. I'll just use the link, okay? Shorten URL, copy the link, and I'll show you how the quiz looks like now. Paste and go. So here's the quiz. Now let's say school, I write NTU. So here, because I enable the point system here, I can see the point here, 1 point. right? If I cannot see, then this will not be shown. So later when I submit the form, let's say at the end, if I will see that the NTU answer will show as correct, and I'll get the feedback. So that's how this form works, and it has become a quiz. But of course, the fields I put in are not quiz type of questions, so of course I'm not going to test it, but you can test it and it'll work. There should be no problem. So I hope this short video tutorial has been helpful, and it will help you create a great Google Forms and quizzes. Of course, if you want to make your Google form better, now each time you test your quiz, because right now I'm logged in, therefore I see this button. Your students will not see this button, right? So if I want to change anything, I can click there, and I get back to the edit mode, and then I go there, color palette, and I can change the color of the form like this. Nice, right? And if I want to do further changes, I click there, and I can choose illustrations too. Let's say I choose this as a select. So here I have a pretty form here. Nice, right? So that's how it works. Now this is a preview. You can see the preview of the quiz, and you click this, you're in the edit button. Earlier I chose the other way by just using the link to see whether the link is working or not. So these are things you can do. Now once you have created one quiz, you want to reuse it for other purpose, you can just make a copy. Okay? And you can, as I said, do other things, but these are not so important. I think this is good enough to get you started. So I hope this tutorial is useful to you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.